Welcome to Keys to Success. On this show, we will motivate, educate, and entertain you. Now here's your host, Mr. Kirk Clark.
Good evening and welcome to another program of Keys to Success. I am Kirk, and tonight, just as promised, we continue the program on team building. Tonight, we'll be looking at a different aspect of team building. We'll be looking at punctuality. All that and so much more right after the break.
For the best commercial signage and so much more, call Fast Graphics on 225-1099 or 622-7113. If you'd like to change the look of your car, why not wrap it? Call 225-1099 or 622-7113. Why not put your business on a banner stand and showcase all that you can? Call us today on 225-1099 or 622-7113. Fast Graphics, located at 28 Railroad Line, Kitty. Call us today, 225-1099 or 622-7113.
Call 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001 for the service that is better than all the rest. Call Confidential Cabs, 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001. Confidential Cabs, where safety comes first.
Welcome back to Keys to Success. And yes, tonight, just as I promised, on team building, we'll be looking at punctuality. What is punctuality? How does it affect you? How does it make people look at you? Is punctuality even important? As I live in the Caribbean, I recognize especially Trinidad and Guyana. Suriname just a tad bit, but they're a little more professional on timing, according to my observations. But Guyana, oh my goodness. If somebody says 9 o'clock, they're talking 10 o'clock. So we're going to be dealing with punctuality, and especially at this point, how do you respect your office and so on and so forth based on timing. So here we go. The first clip is on the screen. What does being punctual say about you as a person? This is pretty important a question to ask, because punctuality is vital to any person living and surviving in the world. Because when you're late for something, like, for example, what's up on your screen, and I love this, everywhere I go and we do team building, I often make this a question that becomes a debate throughout the session for about a half hour. So let's put it towards the same program. If you are 15 minutes early, you are on time. If you are on time, you were late. And if you were late, you didn't want to be there. I love that statement. It's like, for example, people say, Kirk, okay, what time do you go to work? I'm a team player. And when there's an assignment, for example, if an organization calls me and they basically say, Kirk, we need you to come do a training and we need you from the hours of 4 to 6, because sometimes some organizations, I work for them from 5 in the afternoon to about 8 at night. Some people would like early morning. Some people would like middays. It just varies along the way. But let's say, for example, I normally get up, like I said on the previous programs, I get up at 2:30 in the mornings. That's when I do me. This is when the Kirk Clark does Kirk Clark. This is my reading time, my devotional time. This is my time to plan and check back my day, see what I missed yesterday, and get into proper perspective. So when everybody else is up and in the home, I am already done. Most of the times, shower is done by 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm dressed by 5:15, sometimes 5:30. Sometimes I have breakfast at 5:30, 5:15, 5:30. Most days I am out based on where we are by 6:30. Let's say 6:30, 7 the latest. So in most cases, I always, and in fact, I use the word most cases, I am at locations 1 hour before my starting time. In 99.9% of the times, I am there 1 hour before my starting time. Because if I'm going to have to set up my laptop and I'm going to have to use a projector, what if the cables suddenly just don't work? What if something goes wrong? If I am there late, then I have to rush, then things have to... It's all backed up. There's always a saying on Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. I often put that behind my head every time I'm going to make a decision based on any training program that I do. So I try to always bear that in mind, and when I do it, I try to do it professionally. So it's a great argument. So let's move on just for the sake of it. Why is punctuality such a good thing? Now here are some of the answers to it. It gets your day off to a great start and keeps you in a positive frame of mind so that you can make the most out of your work experience. And that is so true. Because when you're on time, for example, I am a heavy coffee drinker. I already know where to go get my coffee. I know where it is. I know what I need. I can put things into proper perspective. If I need to change the setting of the room, I am on time to do that. So it sets me in a good working mood. It sets my training off right. It sets people off right. Because when they're there, I don't have to then ask them to move this and move that and go there and go here. And no, I'm professional in what I do because I go there early. I'm not going to turn up 5 minutes before the starting time, regardless of the team that we have. All right? So here we go. You can't expect to keep a job if you're always coming late. Most organizations, when they do evaluations and assessments, punctuality happens to be one of the topics that are raised very often in every organization. And most people come up when they have an issue about lateness. Lateness is something that is so chronic on so many organizational lists. So as staff, you've got to be very careful. What time do you get to work? Very important. See, I think most organizations, give you 15 minutes. Of course, you're supposed to come 15 minutes before the time. So let's say call time is at 8 o'clock and you start working at 8 o'clock. They give you the free right to come 8 o'clock, but they also give you a free rein to 15 minutes after 8. And 15 minutes after 8, in some organizations, you just need to check your codes of conduct. And from that 15 minutes after 8, they will give you an extra 5 minutes to get yourself together, and then you start working. So roughly after, they give you about a half hour to settle yourself. But some people come late. I mean late, 1 hour before. 1 hour after. Sometimes people go to work for 8 o'clock. They're not at work until 8:30. They're not at work until 9. Some people are presumptuous enough to come 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then when they come, they're not getting to work. They're coming to now have a discussion about something that really have no relevance to work and have people waiting and then make people feel uncomfortable. So punctuality not only affects you as a person, it affects people who are depending on you as well. It shows a very bad repetition for you and your organization when people come late, and especially when they come late, they're very unprofessional too. Ew. That's just ridiculous on every forum. So, as we move along, it leads to promotion or promotions within the company. That is so true, because sometimes all people need to know from you, can I depend on this person? And because of your dependability, they can now leave keys. They can now know that this person is there. They now know that, you know what, if something goes wrong, right, indifferent, you can leave it with Kirk. Kirk is there. Kirk will be there by 7. Kirk will be there by 8. And they know what time you'll be there for. So it puts you in a good place when people can now depend on you and rely on you because you're the person to make this happen. It helps to develop a sense of responsibility for yourself and towards others. as I was just explaining. It helps others to respect you, and also in one of the most important elements in team building. I just explained that. So within team building, it's very important because also if you look at the slide that's right now on screen, punctuality is the characteristic of being able to complete a required task or fulfilled an obligation. Now, if you are late, you cannot fulfill the required task, nor can you live up to the obligation in the way it needs to be upheld and lifted up in most respective places. So being punctual is something that you have to basically pay attention to. Like this slide on screen says, punctuality is a good trait of a person, one to be admired and respected. Now, can people admire and respect you? Are you that person that they can rely on? Are you that person that takes the extra blunt and bite of the bullet and lead the team by example? Or are you saying, well, if the manager could come late, I could come late. Why come in early for? There's the boss is come late. We got time with all. Most people, that's their attitude. But they're not looking at it from a long-term perspective. They're not looking at it from the perspective. Sometimes the manager leaves the office at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at night, trying to fulfill reports and other deeds of their managers or their bosses or their directors. You have to look at the organizational structure and how you help to fit in that organizational structure. You see, but also we have to look at managers and supervisors. There's no excuses for coming late. But then there's also, as staff, you don't question their ability on coming late or early, because that's not what you're there for. You're there to do what you're there to do, and you need to do what you need to do at the best of your ability, not at the best on measuring their ability. As exciting as this is, so much more when we come back right after the break.
For the best commercial signage and so much more, call Fast Graphics on 225-1099 or 622-7113. If you'd like to change the look of your car, why not wrap it? Call 225-1099 or 622-7113. Why not put your business on a banner stand and showcase all that you can? Call us today on 225-1099 or 622-7113. Fast Graphics, located at 28 Railroad Line, Kitty. Call us today, 225-1099 or 622-7113.
Call 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001 for the service that is better than all the rest. Call Confidential Cabs, 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001. Confidential Cabs, where safety comes first.
Welcome back to Keys to Success. Yes, we're dealing with punctuality, and yes, we're talking about team building and punctuality hand in hand. So we go back to this last slide that we've left off. And let's talk about the second half of this slide. It says punctuality displays a person's respect for people and time. Think about that for a second. When lateness does occur, its effects spread throughout the workplace. Lateness affects the person just as much as it affects the workplace. It is so critical to understand the habits and the negative spreads of lateness. Punctuality is nothing positive, especially when you're late, Lateness has nothing positive to spread towards your character, because most people judge who you are based upon how you operate. Like, for example, a popular ministry called me to do emceeing for their show. They were opening something, an activity, and they asked me to do a master's ceremony. One of the performers that are engaged, I happen to know him personally, and let's say the show is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. At 8:30, the person wasn't there. The show started at 9 o'clock. The person wasn't there. Let's say their performance is supposed to be at 9:30. At 9:30, they weren't there. So when I called them at about 9:30, I said, "Hey, you're on next. Where are you?" "Hey, I am like about almost 8 miles away from where you are." So I said, "Why didn't you come earlier?" "Man, the people give me a late call." You know what? I'm sorry. I'm in business. I won't wait for you no more. You'll be fired on the spot, because that's not making sense to me. If you're going to accept a challenge where somebody's going to call you based on lateness, then you need to be able to calculate, if you're going to accept that request, you need to calculate what time you need to get there and how much time you need to take to get there. So that's on you. When you accept a challenge, you still cannot be late even if the call is late. If you're not going to be on time, better you turn it down. You see, the thing is, most people have a problem with saying no. I don't have a problem with saying no. No, I'm not going to be able to do it based on my timing. How much time are you going to give me to get where I need to get? Because you're talking about this time for me to do this time. You have to understand, how does that look on your credibility? Because if something is supposed to start at 6 o'clock and they're depending on you, you cannot show up at 6:15 or 6:05. The one thing that I learned years ago in organizations is that if you're going to have your boss or somebody superior entering into a meeting, they should not meet there before you do. You're supposed to be there, seated before them, and be ready to accept them as they come along. You have to understand that. So punctuality will talk about a person's character. People will judge you on, your character based upon your punctuality. And that is something that you really need to bear in mind as you go through your success in life. All right. So in punctuality, we can also talk about deadlines. And in deadlines, it's hard for somebody to meet their deadlines if you're late. So, like for some organizations, when you do training, they ask for a training report on the training. No organization waits on my training report. I send it in before time. So if I'm going to be done doing a training assessment for an organization, let's say on the 30th of a month, so I've been hired by, let's say, one for a better word, Georgetown School of Nursing, and I'm teaching for Georgetown School of Nursing, and I know the end of the month, where it comes to the end of June or July or August, regardless of what month it is. So we're on the 28th of the month. I can guarantee you, if the 29th is my last training, on the 30th, they will have their report. Reason being, I respect people in their time, and I'm always documenting things as it goes along the way. Respect the deadlines. Meet it. There are times that you're going to miss it, and when you do, it must be accepted because it's not habitual. It's not something that you keep doing over and over deliberately, and people cannot depend on you. So when you do miss it, they must know that, Kirk couldn't make it because of X, Y, and Z, or maybe something else came up. So when they're going to call you for your report, it's not going to be hostile. It's going to be very forgiving. And they're going to say, I know you probably were busy or something happened. And then you make a respectful excuse. Not a lie. Respectful excuse. And let them know why you were not able to complete it. So as we continue along this line, and we're still in punctuality, they will also measure you based on professionalism. So your professional approach, punctuality speaks to your professional approach to life, speaks to your professionalism towards the things that you deliver, when you deliver, and how you deliver it. It also speaks about your persona. Most people, again, I've seen this over and over, are late. And when they're late, they're still not ready. I just don't get it. You're already late. You're late because you had to do dressing or makeup or shoes or Some people give an excuse, rain. I have to, I learned years ago you can never use rain as an excuse for lateness. In fact, if you ever use that for lateness, your manager or supervisor or boss can literally send you home for the day, because that's no excuse that you're late. Rain is no excuse for being late. Sun is no excuse for being late. You leave this country, you go to a first world, tell them snow. Please use the excuse and say, hey, it was snowing. I was late. Okay. See what happens. So let's talk about professionalism and how punctuality relates to professionalism. It's up on screen. Being punctual helps you establish your reputation as a dependable and consistent worker. In an interdependent work environment, everything runs like a well-oiled price of a machine. Being on time helps ensure that you're doing the best to keep things running smoothly. I hope you get the picture. Because when everybody feels what they need to do, the organization runs well, exceedingly well. So you've got to watch what you do. Make sure your watch works. I'm not going to talk about my spouse. She's got some watches to match every outfit, but none work. I always laugh. I'm saying, baby, why are you wearing the watch? Because it looks cute. Are you serious? Oh, please. Nobody ever listens to her. Oh, she can never tell the time. Time means, yeah, this is why I really do believe opposites attract. I am a person with time. She is never a person with time. Never a person with time. She will always be late for most of the activities that she's going to go to. So if we're going to go out, I remind her like a day before, and then I remind her the day, and then I keep reminding her throughout the day. And of course, she's upset. And guess what? Most of the time, once we're together, most of the time we'll be on time, because I would nag that time frame into her. Well, you know, when you see me on the show next week with a black eye, you know where I got it from. Domestic abuse is not good. So I'm just saying it out loud. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
For the best commercial signage and so much more, call Fast Graphics on 225-1099 or 622-7113. If you'd like to change the look of your car, why not wrap it? Call 225-1099 or 622-7113. Why not put your business on a banner stand and showcase all that you can? Call us today on 225-1099 or 622-7113. Fast Graphics, located at 28 Railroad Line, Kitty. Call us today, 225-1099 or 622-7113.
Call 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001 for the service that is better than all the rest. Call Confidential Gabs, 231-8600, 231-8601, 231-4000, 231-4001. Confidential Gabs, where safety comes first.
I want to take a different spin on loyalty than I think most people think of, when perhaps the common thought around loyalty is, I've got your back, I'll defend you to the death. I'll show up on time. I'm here all the way through. I think those are important, and they have their place. All of them are great virtues to have and characteristics. But as I think of Fishbowl, and I think of the people in my life that are loyal, it's not something we talk about. It's interesting when you think of the characteristics or attributes or any of the non-negotiables. I think you don't talk about loyalty very often. It's something that you just do. And when I think of the people here at Fishbowl, of 100 people, I've never thought once that they're loyal or disloyal. They just show up, do their job, they're honest, they work well as teammates, they lead out when they need to, they bring their best game to each day, most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And so to me, that's what loyalty is something that's unseen and not spoken about, but you just feel that's there. You don't have to look behind your back. You don't need to look over your shoulder. You don't need to wonder what people are doing. And to me, maybe you think that's trustworthiness, maybe that's believing in them, but I think that's just loyalty. And they know that I'm loyal to them. We've stated it publicly that we're loyal for 100 years here. We're not selling the company, so that provides some comfort and some assurances for people. But loyalty in a relationship, I think, is delivered day in and day out and shown in our behavior. And it's hard to just say, I'm loyal to you. It's nice, but it's about what we do and how we show up each day to that individual or to the team.
Welcome back to Keys to Success, and of course this is the final part of where we're going to talk about punctuality, and we're going to have to do it quick because of course time is against us. So here we do this, punctuality, and we're talking from a perspective of a driver. Now the driver of an organization, if a driver comes late, he affects everybody, the entire operation of the team. If the cleaner comes late, she affects the entire operation of the clerical staff and the entire operation of the office because everybody got to walk in between and out of her and so on. Administrative staff, if they're late, the phones ring off the hook, things get chaotic because sometimes people don't understand how to patch calls through to other departments, so there's a delay in the calling system. People get frustrated. Customers cannot get through to people in the way they need to do it. If the handyman comes late, guess what? The environment does not look very neat and tidy. The place is not kept properly. That person now is under strain to do more than they should do when they can just literally gear and plan their way out. As the receptionist, the front desk person, the person when somebody comes in for them to greet, if they're late, then they cannot be professional in the way they greet people, and it leads to a whole repetition of things and yada yada yada. This is as much as we've got for you on the show. Forgive me for saying yada yada yada. This is as much as we've got for you on the show. I am Kirk. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Keys to Success. But of course, next time we meet, we'll be talking about the difference between a manager and a leader. That's the key one. Make sure you give that phone call. Make sure you let everybody know what's happening for the next time on Keys to Success. But for the persons who helped make the show a success, Troy Tech, the people who helped the production aspect of the team, Gideon Spade A Pawn Shop. I'm so sorry why I'm talking off my head. I don't know. Orlando Fast Graphics. Eric, the guy who does the haircuts for me. Phenomenal guy and the team down at Ambitions, and of course Confidential Cabs. We couldn't do this without Confidential. It's a taxi service that is number one around the town. Confidential Cabs. Call them today. This is Kirk saying thank you so much for joining us this week on Keys to Success. See you next week, same time. Bye-bye.
you.